There's a conversation that happens in boardrooms and executive committees that most senior leaders never hear. It's a conversation after the interviews are done, after the shortlist has been assembled, after all the capable, high-performing and well-credentialed executives have made their case. And in that conversation, the people making the decision aren't talking about who had the best track record. They're talking about something else entirely. Today, I want to tell you what that something else is. Because if you're serious about the CEO role, then this might be the most important thing you hear. Most executives who want the CEO role have spent their careers doing one thing exceptionally well, and that is performing. Hitting targets, leading teams, managing complexity, and delivering results. And that performance gets them noticed. It gets them into the interview room. It gets them onto the shortlist. But here's the problem. Performance is the entry ticket. It's not the deciding factor. I've sat across the table for some brilliant executives over the years, people with extraordinary track records, elite credentials, and the kind of CV that makes you lean forward when you read it. And I watched some of them not get the job. Not because they weren't capable, they were more than capable, but because the people making the decision couldn't see them in the role. There's a difference between someone who has done great things and someone who feels like a CEO. And that difference, that gap, is what gets you chosen or overlooked. So what is it? What's the thing that actually gets you chosen? In my experience, 30 years in senior leadership, CEO of an ASX listed company, and now working privately with executives preparing for this exact step, it comes down to three things. The first is presence, not personality, but presence. When you walk into a room, do people instinctively feel that you're in control of yourself, of the situation, of the complexity in front of you? That's not about being loud or dominant. It's about settled authority that comes from knowing who you are as a leader. Most people can't manufacture it, but they can develop it. The second is conviction. Can you make a hard decision with incomplete information, under pressure when smart people around you disagree, and then stand by it, not stubbornly, thoughtfully, with clarity about why? Boards don't want a CEO who needs consensus to move. They want someone who can hold a position and lead through uncertainty. The third, and this is one most executives underestimate, is self-awareness. Do you know how you land? Do you know the gap between how you think you're leading and how it's actually being experienced by the people around you? Because a CEO role amplifies everything, your strengths and your blind spots. And the executives who get chosen are the ones who have done the work to understand both. These three things, presence, conviction, self-awareness, they're not on your resume. You can't put them in a cover letter, but they are absolutely what's being assessed when the decision is being made. Now, here's what frustrates me about most leadership development. It focuses almost entirely on the external game: strategy, governance, stakeholder management, financial acumen. And those things matter. I'm not dismissing them. But they're the things you're already doing. You wouldn't be at this level if you hadn't mastered most of them. The gap, the things that actually standing between where you are and getting chosen, is almost always interior. It's the way you show up under pressure, the narrative you carry about whether you're generally ready, the relationship between your performance and your confidence. Because of a lot of high-performing executives, those two things aren't as aligned as people assume. You can be performing at a high level and still have a quiet voice underneath it asking whether you're really ready. And if you don't do the work on that, if you walk into a CEO interview still carrying that uncertainty, people feel it. They may not be able to name it, but they feel it. Getting considered is about your track record. Getting chosen is about who you are when the track record isn't in the room. If you're at the stage where the CEO role is a real conversation, whether it's in the next 12 months or the next 2 to 3 years, I want to ask you three things. When you walk into a high stakes room, do you feel settled or do you feel like you're performing settledness? Can you point to the moments where your conviction held under real pressure, not just when it was easy? And honestly, do you know how you land with the people above you, beside you, and below you? Not how you think you land, how you actually land. Those three questions are worth sitting with, because the executives who get chosen for the CEO role have usually done the work to answer them before anyone asked. So I'm Greg Stevenson. I work privately with senior executives on exactly this, the interior work that gets you from considered to chosen. If that resonates, there's a link below. 30 minutes, no pitch, just an honest conversation with myself about where you are.